All over the world, we're seeing massive population decline and the effect this will have on economies of nations. But let's face it, kids are messy. They're exhausted. Lots of young ladies now do not want to have kids. And those who do have kids are simply exhausted and cannot and do not want to go on anymore. Not to mention, they're super expensive. Are there any joys that really make parenting worth it? Join Lora Cavanna and I as we discuss this topic of is it really worth it? And she shares lots of simple, tried and tested tricks of parenting.
Hi, friends. So today we are joined by a very special lady, Lora Cavanna. I'll let her introduce herself and tell you a little bit about herself. But I have known her, I remember now, maybe like 5 years.
Maybe.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
about 5 years,
Mhm.
and she has been a tremendous influence in my life, and it has been great. She has been just an amazing friend, mother, sister, everything in there. And so we're gonna delve into, before she introduces herself, we're gonna talk mostly about family, children, career, and just all the fun things that has to do with motherhood. So grab your seats, enjoy this conversation. So Laura.
Hi, Hannah Rich. Thanks for having me. I am Lora Cavanna. I have been married to my husband, Ramon, for 31 years. We had 6 kids in 10 years, so they're about 2 years apart each. The youngest one is a little girl. Well, she's not little. She's 19. So yeah, that happened.
5 boys and 1 girl.
That is 5 boys and 1 girl. Yeah, it's been. I'm kind of on the other side of things now because all of my children are adults. So
Yeah, young adults. Yeah.
yes, young adults. There you go.
We have one marriage. Just one is married, right?
1 married, yes.
Just one is married.
And 1 grandbaby. Yeah.
One
It's exciting.
Girl, second girl in the family.
Yes, there you go. There you go.
That is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So Laura, just now that Laura has had a home, like you said, and I have 4 boys under the age of 7 now, so that they're 7, 6, and 5, and a 1-year-old. It's tough, Laura. So
Yeah.
anyway, before we get into the toughness of it, now that everyone is gone, how is this season looking like for you with no kids at home?
Well,
This is the dream. So tell us about the dream. This is what us young mothers are looking for.
Yeah, first of all, they're not all gone.
Well,
My oldest just finished his studies, and while he's fine-tuning his skill set and putting out resumes, he actually lives at home. And then my youngest daughter, who is in college, also lives at home. I don't see her a whole lot, but I know I've made the point when I know she's home and I'm awake, I make the point to kind of laser focus and hear how her day's going, how her week's going. So, yeah.
So it's been nice. So, well, it's still, majority are still not home, and so it's still, you're not doing all the diapers and the face is gone. And she forgot to say one crucial, important thing she did. Homeschool.
Yeah.
She homeschooled her kids all the way
through
to college.
Yes. Yeah, that was good. That was it was good. It was a lot of work. People always worry about high school, it being, they don't want to mess it up or whatever. It was fine. We were able to we had a co-op that we liked. We had dual enrollment, which is college level classes. I had friends helping me along the way. So that was actually the easier part, I think. So
yeah, and homeschooling is a huge conversation, and I think it's gotten very popular now because a lot of schools, even here in Lowersville ISD and Coppell, and they are wanting to close down some schools.
They are.
And so homeschooling has gotten very popular. So if you want Laura to come back and kind of break down, because this is not a homeschooling interview, but yeah, we would come back and do one special focus on just homeschooling and really just how to help you if you are homeschooling. Because I kind of dabbled in, and it's still it's still for me, for our family, it's something that we still want to do. We did a little bit of it, and then they're in school now, and we're going to do it again. So we're still not out of.
There's some good options out there. It's not the only option. It's not the only way to go.
One of my friends was like, "Well, what about friends?" But I'm like, "Are you living in the 17th century? Like, seriously?" Because homeschooling is such an amazing, rich experience now. I feel like it's just one of the best things you can do for your kids. And Laura's kids they all went to college, because people are like, your kids are never going to go to college. All of Laura's 6 kids went to college.
They were better prepared for college because they were homeschooled, is what I have seen with my own kids and with a lot of other homeschoolers. So,
because they had to, throughout the homeschooling period. Well, this is not a homeschooling interview, but yeah, like I said, we will come back and do a special one on homeschooling. And I'm going to kind of go on to our next question. So just reflecting on some of her journey, your journey as a mom of 6. What have been some of the biggest joys of raising children? And I'm asking this question because right now, a lot of people do not, by choice. And this is, if you're unable to have kids, we're so sorry. We know, because we went through a period with my husband and I, where we tried having kids and it just wasn't happening. So I understand that frustration of wanting it and not being able to. So if you were not able to or are unable to, we empathize with you. But we are also just kind of talking more about people who are choosing to not have kids, because all over the world now there's population decline in just major countries, in Asian countries, China, Korea, Japan. We already know that. Australia has been one of the newest, and it's shocked the world. So all over the world, people are really choosing to not. So tell us, what are some of the joys of raising 6 kids?
Well, when you came and said, where do we sit? And I suggested right here at the dinner table, because these days when the kids are older, this is one of our favorite places we sit and we have dinner, and the kids would invite friends over, and the friends would comment later, I didn't think dinner would ever end, because we sit here and we chat and we laugh and build relationships. And that's probably one of my favorite parts. It's not as much fun with just 1 or 2 kids here. I mean, they try, but it's a lot of responsibility, entertain mom and dad, but they try, but it's just not near as much fun. That's where we are right now. But even some of the joys along the way, when you have a newborn and a baby, and you're watching them develop, and they realize, oh my gosh, I have this. What's this? And it's it's in front. It's here again, and they realize this hand is attached to their. Whoa, they can make it move, and it's kind of that developmental step. Later, watching them when they learn how to read, and I can remember my son, one of my kids. He was a late reader. Okay, and I can remember him sitting in that chair over there with a big chapter book, and he had opened it and he was bored. I opened a book, and he started reading, and he got through the first page and the second page, and suddenly he realized he had read a whole chapter, and he looked up and said, "Mom, I can read." And I mean, of course, I had been teaching him how to read all along, but it was the first time he'd actually just read a book to himself and enjoyed it. So that was really fun. And then these days also, as the kids are young adults, just watching my daughter, she's in college, and those few moments that I get with her during the day before she runs off to school, I'm listening to her grow and change and the things she's figuring out. It's just really fun. It's just really, I mean, I'm not living through her, but in a way I'm just I remember, that's so neat. So that's really just fun as young adults and the conversations and all. So,
oh my goodness, beautiful. And I don't have grown kids, so I can't even imagine how that would look like. But I do still see the difference between when they were very, baby, and you couldn't really have a conversation, to where now they're 6 and they're 7, even the 5-year-old, we're able to kind of have little conversations, and I'm I'm beginning to enjoy. It's not just
a while,
just exhaustion,
and then we have great dinner time conversations now. But back when they were little, it really was chaos.
Yes,
And it
yes.
really was difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, they talk about spilled milk, kids talking out of turn, kids talking over each other. Maybe we could have done better there. I'm just like, these parenting skills that wish I had then. But it did get better when they got older. So
yeah. It looks like it gets better and better. And I know some people are like, well, I have dogs, and it's funny, in New York now they're actually short on veterinary doctors. So if you're a vet, go to New York. They need, because a lot of people are choosing to have dogs and cats, which is great. There's nothing wrong with having animals. If it's fine. However, like some of the things that Lora has shared, if you are able to have kids, if you are unable to have kids, we're not trying to intensify your pain, but we just want to share these joys to encourage those who are able to but do not want to. It's so different to see them develop. Like even when they are walking, right? Like when my 1-year-old, I feel like he kind of took a little bit longer because all the others walked around 10 to 11 months. And he, by 11, almost one birthday, he wasn't walking. We're like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? So I remember he actually walked, and he walked, I think the day before he turned 1. And I was like, oh my, it was, you would think we had won like a lottery or,
milestones.
Milestones. The joy that comes with watching a human being. And one of my friends who has never had kids, saw my baby. She came to visit when I had the fourth boy, and she's like, he came out formed like this, like a little human being formed. And I was like, yeah, isn't that incredible? So there's so many joys. I'm sure we can talk about the joys for hours on end, but we will move on to the next question. So the next question is, many parents are in the thick of raising young children and may feel overwhelmed. What encouragement would you give them about staying the course of so hard? Lora.
You asked this question, and I was remembering in time that I think we had, our van seated six kids. So I think we had 6 kids at the time. We were on our way to church. It's always a hassle trying to get everyone dressed and out the house. I know we had at least one kid screaming in the back. So it was just, okay, let's just get there. We got to a stop sign, and there was a happy couple on bikes. They were smiling and riding bikes, and they looked like maybe in their 40s or whatever, but they were definitely happy. And I don't think my husband and I even said a word to each other, but we just looked at each other like,
the dream.
And just, anyways, that was just one of those moments that was just very, sticks in my head. Let's see. I was going to tell a little story. So when we were married, when we first got married, we did get to the point where we're like, 5, 6, or 7 kids. That's a good number. We're open to that. So we got to number 5. And number 5 was like this clingy child, like hold me, carry me. It was tough. It was just
number 4.
Yeah. So it was really tough. So I started telling myself, I can't do this. I'm going over the edge. I can't do this. And I was really, I would repeat that to friends too, and say, I'm going over the edge. This is too hard. I can't do this. And, of course, what happens when you're having a tough time. It's like, number 6 is on the way.
Oh, no.
So I had been telling myself these lines. I can't do this. I'm going over the edge. This is so, this is too hard for me. Have, my 6th baby, a girl, amazing, right? Amazing. And she's just the sweetest and the bestest.
Oh.
But the lines of, I can't do this is too hard, I'm going over the edge, that just stuck with me. And so for 20 years, these lines kept sticking with me. Yes. And it really wasn't until just really recently, like I'm talking a couple weeks ago, that through, spiritual direction, my Walking with Purpose Bible study, and a podcast, what is it called? Optimal Work. Okay, there you go. Optimal Work. So I was listening to this podcast, and these guys were talking about reframing. And I was like, okay. And I listened to the same podcast twice for whatever reason. And they were discussing reframing again. And I thought about it, thought I could have reframed that, the thoughts I had in my head that said, I can't do this. I'm going over the edge. I can't do this. I could have reframed that. And then I got to thinking further about it, and spiritual director, Bible study, they have been talking about when you hear these ideas in your head, it's like, oh, identify it. Is that a lie? I'm like, that was a lie.
It was a lie.
And for 20 years, I had these thoughts in my head. You can't do this. I'm going over the edge. And so it put like this fear in my heart that was this, like almost a fear of doing God's will, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And that was a long time to, to deal with that fear of, oh, God's will be done. It's like, oh, except,
it's hard. It's hard. So it's like, okay, God, I want to do your will. I know this is your will. You've given me this wonderfully amazing kids, but it's exhausting.
Yeah.
I am tired, and I don't know if I can. And I have those moments where I'm like, this is so hard. I don't know if I can do it. So did you feel like practically, right? Did you have times where you were away for a little bit? Did that help? Or what did you do to kind of help you in those seasons, those intense seasons? What helped you to just...
Okay. So this table also, this is also the place where I'd invite friends over, and my friends would invite me over. Friends and kids. So I might have 4 friends over. They each have 5 or 6 kids. So, 4 or 5 friends, 20 kids. Okay. Running around the house. And did I say boys?
Oh my goodness.
So the boys would all bring their Nerf guns, and so there'd be these shooting wars. So we're sitting at the table with our coffee kind of ducking, the Nerf bullets flying. So we did, they would also go in the backyard sometimes. So, but just a lot of companionship and support and
community. So
community.
Don't do this alone.
Yes, that is actually, I put that in my notes as don't do this alone.
Yeah.
The support that I got from my friends and just, being able to commiserate. And something I learned more recently from one of my friends is she had wanted to homeschool, and she found herself, there was a certain group of her good friends that she hung out with. And every time she hung out with them, she'd come home and say, I'm not sure if I should be doing this. This may not be. And it was like her husband pointed out, they all got their kids in school. If you want to put your kids in school, hang out with people that have kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I found myself gravitating to and hanging out with people that had a lot of kids. And we helped each other out. And we just, commiserating, but also sharing ideas. And, what did you do with this discipline issue? Or what, how do you get away? Or, that was... So I didn't get away from the kids, but I surrounded myself with friends, and we had our little space here.
Yeah,
so
that really helped. Yeah, because it can be lonely. It can be very lonely. Yeah.
And then as well, music. I had my mommy music. Love my mommy music. And I didn't have podcasts, but hey, supportive podcasts.
Yeah, we have podcasts now.
Yeah, you have podcasts that will that give you the support that you need. Good books.
Yeah. The world has changed now. There's great books. There's even audiobooks. I don't think, did you have audiobooks then?
Not as much. I love audiobooks.
I do too. Yeah. Because I love reading, and so, but now, audiobooks. So we're very blessed, like you said. It's not something you do all by yourself. Me and my kids, my husband. That's it. But opening yourself up, and then also being careful to which groups that you kind of associate with, because you have to find people who are in the same, going through the same kind of.
It helps.
It really does.
You don't want to put yourself in a little bubble and never come out, because we do. It does help to know others, but
like the Bible said, that iron sharpeneth iron. So choosing the same iron that can, help sharpen you in this parenting season, parenting young kids.
Yes, seek like-minded people, but be careful on yourself and don't compare yourself. Like it's kind of, and when you hear a mommy podcast and they're just like, this brilliant mom who has everything together. and then you compare yourself and hang your head low and say,
Instagram moms make me feel so bad. The houses are so clean.
Yeah, right. Okay, I can't do that. So when you compare yourself and you get yourself down, like, oh, don't do that. I did a fair amount. I still do that. I mean, I did a fair amount of that when I was younger. But just remind yourself, oh yeah, I'm a different person. This is the way God made me.
Yeah.
And be happy with that. I mean, always seek to improve and understand your faults, but don't put yourself down. So that was okay. Number 4.
So good. I like that.
Know that no one can do what you were doing. I think, is it Susan Vanker?
Yeah.
What's her? Okay. Yeah, she just made the point in her podcast, and you introduced me to her. And I remember listening to her, and I was going for a walk, and I'm thinking, people must think I'm nuts because I'm doing this. Yes, she's saying it.
I'm going to put a link to that podcast in this video, so you should go watch it.
She's saying what I know, and it's just so good to hear that. But you're the only person in the world that can do for your baby, for your child, what you're doing. And she just made the point that, isn't it kind of cool to be like that important to someone? Isn't that kind of what we want, really, is to be that important to someone? And motherhood, and fatherhood, it's built in that way. Number 5. I told you this is the longest.
I love it.
The longest answer. If you have 2 kids or 3 kids and you are just thinking, I am absolutely crazy, or I'm going over the edge, if you have these thoughts, well, first of all, they're lies. Okay. Second of all, you do max out on the craziness, because number 4 will come along and, number 1 or number 2 are intrigued by number 4 and they're entertaining the baby.
Yeah.
If you have girls first, I didn't do it right. They might even change diapers. They might actually help.
Wow.
Now, I didn't. I had boys first.
Yeah.
It's God's plan, not mine.
Yeah.
But, they might actually help. So you will max out on crazy at like 3, maybe 2, just depends. So, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. So this is our next question for Laura. Thank you so much for all of that, Laura. How did your faith influence the way you raised your children? What role did it play during challenging times? So the role of faith. And I know if you're watching and you don't believe in the Lord, or you're not a Christian, we hope that what Laura is about to say will encourage you and help you to know that through Christ and through God, we are able to do this. And so, let's hear Laura.
Okay, I'm going to just back way back and say, first of all, when we were going to get married, my thought with kids was I will have 2 or 3, so I would say 2.3 or 2.5 was the national average. And as marriage prep and through all that, I understood, this is the purpose of marriage, is having kids, and then understanding to respect God's design for my body. It was a complete flip with my mind. I was like, maybe we'll have more. And so, like I said, we got married. We were thinking, I don't know, kind of considering our age or whatever, 5, 6, 7, I don't know, we'll see. So we were just a lot more open to kids. So you fast forward to 6 kids, and
so from the very beginning, you felt like we want to just do God's will. And so however number of kids God wants us to have, you changed your mindset.
My mindset changed to just being more open to life. It wasn't, I know some ladies are just, whatever God gives us. Bless you. That is wonderful. That is.
Yeah.
We do use natural family planning. So it was like, okay, we are going to respect God's design, but he's given us a little bit of wiggle room here. Okay, well,
family planning. So they did use
lost my thought. Yes. Right. Natural family planning.
Yes. Natural. Yes.
Okay, the kids. So go fast forward 6 kids. Really, even my oldest was 18 months when the second one was born. So they almost they never got the experience of being the center of the universe.
Yeah.
The way an only child is, or it was very short-lived for my oldest.
Yeah.
So when you have one child, they're the center of the universe.
Yes.
And if you never have more kids, activities, everything revolves around this kid. And it's really hard to teach them there are other people to care for.
Yeah.
So even before even hearing the gospel, they already understood you have to share, you have to be charitable, you have to be kind to this other person, you have to love them. So that all happens without even preaching the gospel when you have a lot of kids. Let's see. And then, just more on, I had a lot of support, through the different, it was through the music I listened to, the friends, the books I read. I knew I was doing the right thing. And, so someone would question it. And, I kind of like, where are you? Okay, whatever. I never questioned what I was doing. And when you know you're doing the right thing, there's a lot of force behind that, even on the really bad days when you're really tired. I know I'm doing the right thing. I know beyond a doubt this is the right thing to do. And this is God's will for me. This is God's will for us. So there's a lot of force behind that. Everywhere in the Bible, God says at the very beginning, middle, end, be fruitful and multiply. Children are a blessing. Yes. And just knowing that and just having that firm conviction, it helps you get through anything. Yeah. And then, yes, of course, I have my prayer books and my Bible. That was,
key. Prayers. Oh gosh. Yes.
Yeah. I always look back and think, wow, I wish I could have put aside more time. Oh, wow. Yeah. So.
It wasn't. Thank you, Laura. So obviously, Laura's faith played a role in right from the beginning, before she even got married, through the counseling, and then throughout the period of raising kids. It played a huge role, in her family, and just going through that time of raising kids. I'm going to go to the next question. So, for parents who are struggling with balancing discipline and love, what advice would you offer them? And I think you kind of mentioned one, just about when you have just one child, when you have a lot of kids. Some things are there that with one child you may have to consciously discipline, but when you have a lot of kids, they have to.
Well, it makes problems more obvious, and you better fix them. And So, I was pondering all discipline, and this is where I'm going to credit my husband, but because he's really good at this. And this is one of those things that I go back, I'm like, it was not as good, but I'm like, he pulled the line there, towed the line. A relationship, and first he had a relationship with the kids.
Yeah.
And, he was there. They knew that he loved them. Yeah. And when I say he was there were a lot of things that he did not do. He never coached the soccer team. He was really good at soccer, but he's just, no, my bandwidth is not enough. I need to be home. So it's either work or at home, which is, you want everyone to volunteer at church and all that. Yeah. It's like, no, he really needed to be home. Aww. So he was home, and the kids knew he was home as long as, when he could be home. And because he was like that, he could get so much out of the kids with just a really stern look and a deep voice, and they would obey him. How do you do that? But he had a relationship. And then there were two kids at one point that were just kind of, doing this, I think 7 and 11, just butting heads. And it was, and I know I watched my brothers do this growing up. And it's like, okay, drop everything. This is the most important thing on the planet right now. You two have to get along. And so he worked and taught, stern look, deep voice, and he worked with the two of them until they got along. And to this day, those two are really good friends. Oh, and it's so fun. Yeah. It's better than anyone else on it. So it's really neat.
Mm-hmm. That's very encouraging to me, because I see two of my boys. Mm-hmm. Well, two of them pick on another one, and I'm like, so that's encouraging to me.
It's worth all the effort. And by the way, I remember we were chatting at the park, and you had a flat tire, and your husband came out, and I took a picture because her husband comes out, And the 3 boys are like, Daddy! And they go out there to help Daddy change the tire.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was the sweetest. I'm like, okay, y'all got a good thing going there, whatever you're doing. So that is awesome.
Praise the Lord. Oh my goodness. Thank God. But yeah, okay. Thank you, Laura. So first is, Ramon was there. So you have to be there for the kids. And now I feel bad for a lot of us parents now because there's so many activities and I feel like parents don't even get the chance to just connect with the kids, And my husband is same as Ramon, really. He is like, no, we're not doing that. I'm not doing it. I just want to be here with the kids. I'm like, okay. So let's first of all connecting with those kids, just finding that time to be there or I say it, and then not just also being there, but also enforcing discipline when you have to. Because the Bible does say that spare the rod and spoil the child. Train up the child the way he should go. So discipline, you have to discipline your kids. And now they are enjoying the fruits of it because all of her kids.
The kids are friends.
No wayward friends. No wayward kids. And they are all good friends. That's such a blessing. Such a blessing.
And I mean, I pray it stays that way,
It will. In Jesus' name.
One of the things that I'm going to credit my husband for again, that he brought to the family as the kids got a little bit older, because we couldn't do this when they were too little, but we'll have birthday celebrations.
A lot of them.
And sadly now we're different places, so sometimes they're really kind of small. But when we have a birthday celebration, we will go around the table and toast the person having the birthday. Birthday boy, birthday girl, mom, dad, whatever. But everyone would take a few minutes to say what they appreciate about that person. And my husband's point is to don't save it for when someone's dead. Say it right now to their face. I do too. It's been lovely. Something I did not.
We're gonna adopt that.
Okay.
Husband.
We're gonna adopt that. And something I thought about taking that a step further, and I didn't try it because my kids are older and I don't know if they even fight anymore. I don't think they do. But something I thought would have been a good idea.
You mean they stop fighting eventually?
I'm trying to think if they have. I think they'll get along. But the idea of, okay, so if your kids have a bad day and they're fighting and they're angry, make a really nice dessert that night and put it in the center of the table and say, we do not eat this dessert until you sincerely say something nice about him or about, wouldn't that be kind of cool? I don't know. I just,
you didn't do that?
No, because this is something that kind of came to mind. I was listening to someone talk about her kids fighting and what do I do? How do I make them get along? And I thought, wonder if that would work, just to, you say something sweet and then I'll give you something sweet.
Anyway. I will try. Think it will work.
Let me know. Let us know how it works.
Yeah. I think it will work actually.
It should. If they say, oh, like the color of your shirt, it's like, okay, that was not sincere.
Yeah, I have you thoughtful. I like that.
So I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
We'll see. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching the first in our 3-part series. Please watch out for part 2 on career and motherhood and for the concluding part of the series on fun Christmas tips. God bless you. Subscribe, share, and like.